Welcome to Evolving Brush. I'm Elaine Bergstrom, and today's share is a little bit about what I love: Sumi painting, nature journaling, and drawing and art. So I've been teaching Sumi painting for years and have spent the last several months sketching every morning, and realized how connected the Japanese and Chinese are to nature, and how we can apply these things to nature journaling. So with just a portable, beautiful brush pen that has ink, they come kind of like markers and ink with refill cartridges, some aren't. Um, you can practice Sumi painting and nature journaling and get connected all at once by just taking these little pens, maybe a little refillable water brush if you want to blend the ink if it's not waterproof, and your sketchbook and maybe a pencil, maybe an eraser, and go on your way and enjoy nature and discover things. So I've been making several videos today. Unfortunately, my internet hasn't been great and both screens haven't been on. So I hope this one works. So I previously posted this morning this little bonsai tree and the Spanish moss. So I decided to switch from the drawing of the Spanish moss to the little tree. Everybody has a tree that's outside. If you like little miniature trees, you can sometimes get them even at Home Depot for reasonable. I know you can order many of them online, but just a way to connect. So on the earlier video, I did this. So let's first go over these, this little brush pen. And just to kind of show you the Sumi brush, which is different than a watercolor brush, but you can start out that way with a round that's thick and practice pressure of very fine lines and very thick lines. With these wonderful little brush pens, with no pressure, you can get the finest lines by drawing them. If you press down just the tip, you can get a little bit thicker line. Press down maybe halfway thicker, even thicker, all the way thick. And then if you turn it at a 45-degree angle, you can get even thicker lines. I was trying to do a little calligraphy there. What's wonderful about the Japanese and Chinese tradition, so all of the Asian Sumi painting, which is ink painting, Sumi, and Sumi-e means the same thing, just different cultures, different language. This is the Bible of all Chinese and Japanese brush painting. It all stemmed from this, basically this manual. It's called the Mustard Seed Garden Manual Painting. I always share it in my Sumi painting classes. And what's wonderful is they talk about nature, drawing trees, different types of trees and different textures for the trees, which really lend themselves to nature drawing and journaling and learning about the different textures. And of course, they were very creative in it, but they show movement, they show spirit in there. And if you're just starting to draw, it's nice because you can just draw lines and then you can get better with shadowing and texturing as you move forward. But what I love about their traditions is they do teach trees and rocks and mountains and flowers and birds, and you can manipulate these little brush pens with thick and thin lines and brush strokes. So in the future, I'll be sharing more of this, and I hope you'll enjoy this. You can use various types of paper. This is an inexpensive, it says watercolor paper, good for inks. You can use bristle, Sumi paper, even copy paper right now, or craft paper. Um, Even if you get brown paper bags, you can cut them up and practice. But what you want to do for nature journaling is just be very portable, have a few supplies, and you're on your way. So in nature journaling, we'd probably draw out the tree first, maybe use our blue color erase pencil, and then we would draw with ink or paint. So in this case, because it's a Sumi, lending itself towards Sumi, I would suggest that you would just use the little brush pen. There's usually comes from the spirit and less correction. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Kuretake brush with cartridge. I think I'm going to switch papers just to show you that it's new. I'm going to fold this piece in half. Maybe I can get something on it. So you can start from bottom or to top or wherever, but of course you want to think about, it didn't seem very even, but it is. You want to kind of just visualize real quickly about where you want to start, where it's going to be, so you can measure. So maybe if I put this big seashell in there, I need to allow for some room. So we'll start with just a fine line today. And in future videos, we can talk about, shading and using brush strokes, just like Sumi painting. So I can either start at the top and go down by not putting any pressure on the tip. I can get basically a fine line. So that's about the movement. It kind of extends up a little bit. There's some leaves, dried leaves. This was a Sumi bonsai tree, sorry, that dried up on me. Now, sometimes they dry, but the trunks are, still alive. So I'll probably wait till a few months and just see if it rebrooms. So I'm just making basically an outline sketch with the marker, but you can see the left side is much more narrow, kind of gives to some movement there. And maybe some fine line brushes, branches. Let's extend this out. I kind of like to watch the negative space that the branches make. This one, maybe just think about where the spacing is, because it creates such beautiful negative and positive space. A little bit thicker up here. And I'm gonna concern myself with really too perfect of a drawing, which I love in nature journaling. It's more about the connection with nature. What am I seeing? What am I observing? And, what can I learn from basically this experience? In much of my other work, I am more technique and driven, but this is just a great way, just to begin the process of sketching and journaling. So here you can see I've got some movement. Now, a lot of times when we're doing textured trees, we can come in and out with maybe some, if you want, if you see even more of a jagged textured edge, Not always above the line. Sometimes I like to go under the line to create that texture and not to make it so straight. So it has some character. I can also put just some dots. Maybe the left side is shadowed a bit just to indicate maybe there's light coming from the top left side, which is a botanical trained person. That's usually my light source, if you're aware of it. And it's funny because the Chinese and Japanese painters didn't think about light the same way Westerners do. They implied certain things to get it dimensional looking, but it wasn't about light source necessarily. So if I look at this image, and feel free to print it from the either the Instagram or Facebook page so that you can practice it, or better yet, go out and look at a tree. So some of the techniques with these beautiful um, maybe dried leaves is just to drag a little stem and just kind of connect it, imply that maybe there's some dried up leaves. Don't have to be too perfect, but it also makes you again observe what happens to leaves in nature when they're dry. And there's a term called wabi-sabi, which is about more imperfections. And I think in Western culture, we strive more for perfection. We don't keep older things, but I like looking at the holes that insects make in the leaves and seeing the crinkled and the color fading. So this looks like a butterfly back there. That's on here. So I'm just keeping it at the tip and then pressing down and just kind of applying a few of these leaves, leaving a little white space in between. So when I come back to my journaling, I can see and remember. So they say that we remember more by drawing it because we have to recall and think about it than if we take a photograph. But often, if I'm out in nature, I do take pictures of things. So when I get back to my studio, oh, I have a reference and I can see. So there seems to be maybe a big leaf there. I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of block it off with the side of my brush just because my line was a little too thick. So easy corrections there. And then as you start observing, you're gonna start noticing more of the twists and turns of leaves. We can save that for another time, of course. Seems to be some kind of dried leaves going on around there. And what's so nice is the black ink just fills in so nicely. So if you make a mistake, you can turn it into a little dried leaf. But hopefully this will encourage you to want to know more about what this tree is, what type of tree. I'll have to look to see if it says. I can post it if I figure it out. But then I might go to my nature journaling books and looks like the stems are kind of, but I could maybe idea if it was up close, it would definitely take off a leaf. So I don't want to get too bamboo looking. That's why I kind of swirl it around. And then from about this point, I see the back of the pot, the tray, and it's kind of foreshortened here. Couldn't get the last one on all the way. How much space is kind of in between the tree. And no means do you have to like rush. Now I'm just using it more like a pen. So it's nice to have that combination there. I love this little seashell. It's kind of protruding out a little bit higher, so I'd have to block. Let's see if I could get it. Maybe if I fill it in, it won't be as distracting. Kind of look like the shadow. So this was a nice, I don't know, seashell or something from the beach. And it had holes in it, so I thought it was great because I put it on the tree and it could give it some extra water. And if I just kind of dabbed a little bit to get some texture, it looks like there might be some, I don't know, rocks at the bottom here, just to play with it. So you can see if I press down, I kind of get this little triangle texture. And I just wanted to grab one of my other brushes because I know it's running out of ink. And by it not having as much ink, it gives a great dry, what we call dry brush texture. Let's get some back in here. Still dab a little bit. I lost a little bit about the shape of here, but I will know what it is. And I can always go back with the gel pen, near nature journaling, and Sumi painting. We use white and black. Unlike when I teach watercolors, it's a very different kind of thing. So let's see, let's just get that. So a little start in nature journaling with a Sumi pen. Sometimes they call them Fude, Sumi brush. And you can see that it has the feeling of the Asian feel, but yet took me, 5-10 minutes to draw it. And then I could start journaling on the side, maybe draw the leaf on the side and do that. So we covered a lot of little things, and I hope this will be the start of your Sumi sketching desire. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it with others who may not know that it exists. I'm also on YouTube, so if you know of somebody that is not on Facebook or Instagram, they can watch all of my free videos right there. So I hope you learned something. I hope it sparked something in you. Please share if you have any questions or any comments about this style of nature journaling or sketching. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Elaine M. Bergstrom.